Welcome. I'm Michael Bickert. Thanks for joining me today as we explore concepts with the objective of improving your management skills and growing your business. Pause the video right now, hit that space bar and grab a notepad and a pen because I want you to make a commitment that you'll jot down something that you can implement in your business today. We always want to come away from our discussions with some sort of action item, something that you can implement immediately. That's what it's all about, implementation. All right, so today I want to talk about a concept that you can use to grow your business, and that is improving your credibility through the use of third-party testimonials. So increase sales, increase profit through better credibility by using third-party testimonials, third-party information. When a customer hears from you that your product or service is great, that's what he expects to hear. And when he goes to your competitor, he expects that competitor to say, no, their product or service is the greatest. And that's just normal. So I used to point that out to customers. I would say to them, you're going to expect me to tell you that my product is the best. And when you go to my competitor, you're going to expect him to tell you his is better. So let's have a look at what people who have no skin in the game, who have no vested interest in either of our products, what do they say? And so you can use third-party information as a means of bolstering credibility. I've heard it said before that if one person tells you something, it's an opinion. If two people tell you that same thing, it now becomes a fact. And that's sort of it alludes to a psychological phenomenon that when people have some information that they hear from multiple sources, it certainly reinforces it. There's sort of a confirmation bias there. So once somebody hears something and they want to believe it, once they hear it time and again, it becomes confirmed and really sets in. So take advantage of that psychological phenomenon. You can use this concept with your sales team if you have, people that are physically meeting face-to-face with customers, or you can use this in your marketing, or you can use this in a much more passive and virtual sales process. So what I want you to do on your paper today as your homework is I want you to explore the various ways that you can use this. Now let's look at what are we trying to do here. When we talk about improving our credibility using third-party information, our credibility as to what? Well, what do customers care about? They care about one thing, and that is exchanging for value. Okay, so a customer is only engaging with your business because they are experiencing or they intend to experience the benefits of your products or service and value. They want to get good value for that. So when we look at the 4 different ways that we create value, those can give us some insights into how we can use third-party information. And we've discussed many times before that, at least in my opinion, there's 4 primary things that improve value in the minds of a customer. The first one being the customer experience. So think about the customer experience and how can you use third-party information to validate that you have a good customer experience. So these might be online reviews, customer testimonials. So there's a difference between a rating and a review. So let's just cover that really quickly here. You may have an opportunity for customers to give you a rating, and in Google it's a 5-star rating, and there's of course Yelp, and there are other various forms of rating agencies out there and everything, but the big ones are either Google or maybe it's right on your platform in which people deal with. Maybe it's on your social media, a rating on Facebook or something like that. So there's a rating that's usually out of 5. It can be out of 10, and it could be out of 100, I suppose. But what people are commonly used to seeing right now is a 5-star rating, and that's a rating. And then a review, by comparison, is where they take the time to describe something to do with their experience with your product or service. And so we said that there's sort of 3 different ways that you can use this information. One, with your sales team members, your customer service members who are interacting verbally or otherwise with your customers. Maybe they're interacting and communicating digitally through email, text message, chat, this type of thing. They can share, your sales team and your customer service representatives can share those testimonials. They can say, we have a 4.7 star rating from Google, and we have more than 1,200 reviews that it's based on. Of course, if somebody has a 5-star rating that's based on, just a handful of reviews, that's not as valuable in most people's minds as maybe a slightly lower rating, but a very respectable one, say north of 4.5 stars, that's based on many more reviews. It's much more difficult to maintain a super high star rating the more reviews you get, because there will be there's going to be mixed in with that some negative reviews. So ask your sales team members to communicate and to educate prospective customers and then attempt to convert them to actual customers by sharing information about what other customers are saying. And we said that that is related to customer experience. The second thing is convenience. And I think, again, ratings and reviews are a good way to share that information. Quality, you're going to find that your reviews can speak to the quality of the product. But besides ratings and reviews, are there other ways? Well, it really depends on the context of your business. If you are retailing, for example, and you're selling other brands and products, then maybe there has been some reviews that are written by really credible sources, such as Consumer Reports, or maybe you're in the automotive business and there is some crash tests that have been done by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, other third parties that review products. If you're in the mobile business, you're selling cell phones, then there are certainly no shortage of third-party experts that review and do the unboxing of products and that kind of thing. And so if you have, through one of those sources, a really good review that's been done, let's say you have a product that you represent is really well reviewed by Consumer Reports, highly rated, then you would share that. And again, your sales team can do that. And then pricing is another thing you can do. And you can post, say, an independent pricing comparison. So maybe you want to post some competitors' ads and show their price versus yours. That's a way of showing third-party information. As opposed to you simply saying, our price is better, you can show what the competition is advertising, screen captures from their website, or maybe they actually have some traditional print advertising or some sort of way that the price is being communicated, and you're showing your customers, don't take my word for it, take a look at what's being advertised, our price is better. So those are the 4 different forms of value, or 4 different things that add up to value. And so look for each of those different constituent components. How can you use third-party testimonials, third-party information, ratings, reviews, that kind of thing, to drive credibility for you, to improve credibility for you and drive sales and profitability. So that we said you can use that by having your salespeople do it. Another thing you can do with these things, such as third-party reviews, not customer testimonials and reviews so much as third-party expert reviews. Like I gave the example of Consumer Reports, but there's many, depending on the industry you are in, you should know who the experts are who review your products and services. And the sky's the limit. Go out and search for them, Google it, take a look. What are the best, insert your product name here. What is the best, this, that, or other, widget A, B, or C, and then take a look. And anytime that something that your business represents that you sell, or maybe it's directly your business, So there's a difference there. Like you might provide a service and it's just your business providing that service, or you might sell a product where you are an intermediary. You're not the manufacturer of that product. You're retailing that or you're wholesaling that in some way. And those could be reviewed. And you might be completely unaware of those expert reviews that are out there. But I would encourage you to have your sales team look for this stuff, search it out, and then create what we call an evidence manual in some central location. And in the old days, you did that with a binder. You would maybe print out or cut out these things and laminate them or put them in some kind of page protector and put them in a binder that you could, if you had a brick and mortar store, you could present that evidence manual to a customer in front of them. And that's still a very valid way to do it if you still have a brick and mortar store. But I think it's more common now to create that in some sort of virtual atmosphere. So you would have that maybe stored on your local hard drive on your computer, and your sales team was sitting down with a customer. They could bring up scanned copies and screen captures of the various third-party information that you want to share them. Be sure that you point out the source, highlight the source, whether you're doing this physically on paper or if you're using some annotation tools for screen captures and other digital formats. You want to highlight the source and maybe the date, and highlight the information that is most relevant. It could be a 2 or 3 page written review, and there's really strong points. There's 2 or 3 really strong points that are very important to important to your prospective customers. Highlight those so that you can go to the top, and when you're pointing this out to your customers, you can show them this is from Consumer Reports, and you'll notice here they say it's the best value for the money, and you'll point out 2 or 3 different points that are made in the article. My mind was distracted there for a moment because you also want to be careful using third-party information. If you're publishing that publicly, you may need permission from the original source. So make sure you obtain that. I don't think you need any permission to be able to pull out, say, a Consumer Report magazine or a printout from one and to show that physically to somebody. But you want to stay on side with whatever regulations there are when you're using third-party information. So I should have brought that up in the beginning. Don't forget to do that. Check what the regulations are, especially maybe if it's somebody like Consumer Reports, it's going to be a little stricter, but there are many smaller independent reviewers who would be happy to allow you to use their information. And there are also a lot of places that sell you the rights to be able to use their information, like Consumer Choice Awards, Consumer Digest, these types of things that you'll find that businesses are rated, for the 5th year in the row. This is city A, B, or C's preferred location for Italian dining, or whatever it may be. Often those reviews you have to pay to be able to use them, and there's some there's some cynicism regarding the how independent they are and how are they biased based on those that actually are willing to pay. They somehow win them year after year. However, it's still effective. So I'm not going to make a judgment on what you decide to use for your marketing. The point that we're discussing today is that your customers are going to, of course, assume that whatever comes out of your mouth, whatever information you produce, will assert that yours is the best. And it's much more powerful to be able to back that up and improve your credibility by adding third-party sources. So we talked about how you could use that with physical salespeople, part of your sales team. Also, you can do that in your marketing. And again, we got to make sure that you're on side regulation, because now your marketing, of course, is public facing. And certainly something like Google reviews, you're absolutely welcome to produce the truth and reproduce the truth in your advertising. So if you were remember, when we talk about the difference between sales and marketing, sales, I'm talking about they're engaging in the sales process with a customer. So you have some sort of customer service representative, a salesperson who's engaging in the sales process, and they could use evidence manuals and verbally communicate these third-party pieces of information that reinforce what they've been saying about how great your product or service is. Now, when we talk about marketing, that is somehow you're communicating publicly through advertising or through some content that you're producing, and it's meant to convert people to the next stage in the sales funnel, but it's not actually engaging directly with a customer one-on-one. You're engaging with the public in the hopes of converting those people from being general public to prospective customers, or leads, we would call them. And so in marketing, you might want to advertise that you have a 4.7 rating, that you're the highest rated particular purveyor of a particular service in town, and point that out, because maybe a person didn't look that up on their own. And by the way, go out of your way to collect these things, to make sure that your happy customers are taking the time to rate you online and to review you and to provide customer testimonials. Let me just differentiate again between, say, we said the difference between a rating and a review. Now, what is the difference between a review and a testimonial? You might be able to ask your customer to provide you a written testimonial that you can post on your website, that you could use as part of your advertising in your marketing, and certainly you could use it on your social media. Or you may actually be able to get your customers who are willing to provide you with audio and best yet, video recording testimonials, where they describe with a little guidance from you, and then you would pass that material onto an editor who would make sure that it's a really good piece that you could use in your marketing, some kind of testimonial video or audio clip that can be used in your marketing. And your marketing, as we said, could be advertising, could be part of your social media content you produce, or it could be just your website. And then lastly, the website is the segue to the third part, which is, so we've said, in your sales process, in your marketing, or in just a more passive virtual context. So maybe you already have leads converted all the way to your website. By all means, you want to reinforce the value of your product on your website using third-party testimonial. That's why you'll see on most websites, they'll have a testimonial page. Also, they'll have an opportunity for customers to rate and review products that they've purchased in the past. And you need to be communicating the results of that. By the way, don't be afraid to do it even if you're getting poor results. That means that you have to respond in some way. You have to explore why. Why are your customers rating and reviewing your products or services worse than you would otherwise expect, and fix that. And it's perfectly legitimate to ask a customer to modify his original rating or review once you fix the problem. It could be a problem with his experience, that he quite liked the product or service quality and the price was fine. He thought there was good value there, but it was really inconvenient, or his experience, he dealt with something that was very frustrating to him. It could have been part of the shipping, the logistics, the delivery. You never know until you ask. It might be spelled out in the review specifically what the problem is, but reach out to customers and make sure that you're going to make it right. That's your obligation as the business owner. Don't just allow people to experience poor quality, poor value, and then let it go. So pay attention to the ratings and reviews. This should be a major part of your marketing efforts. Drive up the ratings and reviews so that you can use them as third-party testimonials. And then go ahead and create a strategy for asking for testimonials. If you're going to use my tip about having audio clips, sound bites, or ideally video that you can post, then do that. And so we've talked about using that in your sales process and the sales funnel, directly where your customer service or sales team members are communicating with your customer. Also, we've said you can advertise that. You can put that in your content, your social media. And then thirdly, you can just make it part of your passive or virtual sales experience. Once a person's on your website, you want to have information that convinces them that they're making a good decision, that there's good value. I think of a particular product that I was researching one time. And, most customers are like this. They go onto websites and they research. Don't leave it to chance. If you've got information that would otherwise convince a customer of the value, put it on there. And this particular example that I'm thinking of in my mind, they had posted a scientific article that talked about the health of their product being better than what an alternative would be, where a customer, like ultimately the competition, what a competitor might produce. And so that is a perfect example of they sort of use the evidence manual concept on their website. And because I was researching it and it represents a sizable investment, at least from my perspective, I wanted more information. And when people take the time to go to your website, it shouldn't just simply be the price and a few bullet point description of your product or service. Of course, it depends on what it is that you're representing, but take the time to build the value. And today's concept is don't just think what you can come up with and what you can say. Instead, research what materials, what third-party information sources are you able and legally able to share with your customers. That's very powerful. So that's the concept I wanted to communicate today. I hope you took something down. Brainstorm. Remember, look at the 4 ways that you build value: through the customer experience, through convenience, through quality, through pricing. And then ask yourself, so you've sort of made a list of those 4 things, and then put 3 other, maybe that's your rows, and your columns would be sales funnel, marketing channels and advertising, and virtual or passive or website as the 3 different places that you put this stuff. And then start brainstorming in each of those. Now we're up to 12 different things when you create your matrix there. So you'd have 12 different cells into which you could brainstorm various ideas, and where could you find that? And just think, where can I get information that, and then start collecting it over time. If you lack information, if you have a lack of ratings, reviews, customer testimonials, now's the time to start. Even if you've been in business 20 years and you haven't been doing that, your competition is, by the way. And people are paying attention to this. So you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your business, you owe it to all the stakeholders affected by your business to begin implementing that. So implement that today and start by brainstorming, and then just create a strategy. And then if we're talking about ratings and reviews, just one more time, I want to remind you that you have to have a process, and it should be automated, that alerts you. If somebody says something about you on social media, you can do what is called listening in on the various social media channels and be alerted when your company is brought up as a keyword. And then what did they have to say? I like to say that if somebody is saying something good about you, that you should maybe, again, depends on the volume of business you do and the type of business, but maybe you should thank them verbally, or one-on-one you should thank them. If somebody is criticizing you and giving you a poor review, a poor rating, then you should publicly apologize, and you should publicly post something to say, we're going to make this right. And then of course you can still personally reach out to that person individually and try to get more information to make it right. But you need the public to see that you are going to try to make it right. That's what people want to know. People don't expect perfection from you, but they do expect that if something goes wrong, if they deal with you, that you'll go out of your way to make it right. So I always say, make sure that you can thank people privately for giving you positive reviews, but make sure you publicly let everyone know if you get a negative review that you intend to do something about it, so that people will have that assurance that when they deal with you, if something goes wrong, they will have a responsive owner or management team looking after them. So create a strategy for that. Have some sort of automated process that alerts you, good, bad, or otherwise. And then what do you do? What is the process you're going to take? And what is an acceptable standard to you? Is a 4-star rating considered good or bad in your mind? I like to look at comparing it to the competition. So if your competition has an average of 4.5 stars, anything less than 4.5, which of course, since you can only rate according to full stars. Individual reviews less than 5 stars would be something to investigate and see how could you have moved that from a 4 to a 5, and reach out to your customers and ask that. Make sure if you're asking customers who are happy that that they rate you, tell them that you're expecting a 5 star. You can even say to them, the average rating in our marketplace is 4.3. So if you answered 4, you'd be putting us below average. People don't always understand that when they are reviewing or when they're rating a business. So you owe it to yourself to help define that for them. But I was saying that you have to have some kind of process in place so that it alerts you, and then you have some automation that occurs so that you reach out to the customer. And it's sort of an open case, sort of an open customer service ticket, customer support ticket, until you're satisfied you've done all you can. And if you can't make it right, like maybe the customer is, I don't know, they're from out of town and they're not, a refund is not good enough for them, whatever it happens to be, that you just don't have the opportunity to change their mind and make them happy, then at least publicly post what you did do along with a genuine apology. Like, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we weren't at our best this particular time, and we did research it, we did investigate, we found out what happened, we've made the necessary corrections to ensure this doesn't happen again. If there's anything more we can do for you, please reach out to us. Thank you for whatever interaction you had with them. Thanks for communicating with me on the matter. We're glad that we could cooperate with you or collaborate with you to get to the bottom of it. And most times customers will amend their reviews in that instance. So I kind of got onto reviews a lot more and ratings than I intended to, but that is these days one of the primary ways that you get third-party credibility out there. So if you're not using this, use this and look for other expert reviews, expert testimonials. Use whatever you can for your business. Brainstorm it today. Do a little bit of homework. Implement a strategy today. If you need a little bit of assistance, reach out to BMI. Let us help you with this. And let's learn from one another. Put something in the comments that other people can learn some best practices from you. If you want me to follow up on something, answer some questions, put that in the comments. Perpetual refinement.